I had experiences that when I looked back on it, I said I'd never do it that way. And then I had some experiences where I said I would do it that way. To be honest with you, the template for what we've done has really come from Kevin Sumlin and my experience at Texas A&M. The only challenge that we faced that was unique for me the first time I've ever had to deal with this was because we're an early game, the earliest, we had to deal with finals. And how do you scheduling practice around when guys were taking finals. We, in fact, had a dozen kids took their last final here yesterday. Our faculty athletic rep traveled with us and had to proctor those exams yesterday afternoon. So that was a challenge. Every day back in Nevada, the practice and the meetings were all at different times because we had to work around scheduling blocks. And the other challenge we faced, and I don't know if I was right or if I was wrong, we'll find out, I guess, but we had 2 weeks of recruiting contact period. And at the other schools, when you play in a January bowl, you can just go out and recruit, come back, take 2 days to game plan, and then get going with preparation. And we had the coordinators and myself in watching film, sketching out a game plan. We had assistant coaches out on the road. We had one coach left practice last Sunday morning and made a home visit that night. So I just felt like we couldn't ignore recruiting. I mean, it's too important. So we had to juggle all of that. I think when everybody got here and was able to take a deep breath and say, okay, we're finally on site and it's time to solely focus on a game, I think that was a relief for everybody involved.
You're also battling a time change. I mean, you're playing at like 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yes, but we've had a couple days to adjust to that. It'd be different if we came in the night before the game. We played in Hawaii, so I mean, it's like 2 hours ahead, 3 hours back. We played at Florida State last year. We were traveling 3 time zones. To be honest with you, the time change is not that big a deal. It's karma is what it is, because 10 of our 12 games at home started after 7 p.m. My poor parents couldn't stay up to the end back in the East. And I complained about it, and because I complained about it, the football god said, all right, you don't want to play at night, now you're playing at 10 in the morning. So go for it.
What about how important is it to have a guy like Cody run your offense?
Well, look, the game of football nowadays is driven by the quarterback at any level. And for us to have a 4-year starter that's played this much and is such a good person and a good leader, and he's dynamic as a player. I mean, we don't go without him, and everybody knows that. Unfortunately for us, we are the 9th youngest team out of 130 in the country and are 2 deep. I mean, we're still a really young football team with a lot of young kids playing. Our best days, I think, are still in front of us with the way that we're recruiting and building. But, we're losing a 4-year starter quarterback. I wish I had him for 2 more years, I really do. But unfortunately we don't, and he's been a joy to coach. He was recruited by another staff, so transition's always hard. But now imagine being a 2-year starter quarterback, inheriting a new coach. I think he's handled it wonderfully, and it's been my privilege to coach him for 2 years, and I'll always love him and I'll always be indebted to him.
Coach, what did you know about the Cajuns before you knew you were coming here? What have you learned since, and what are the biggest concerns?
My first experience with the Cajuns goes back to when Ricky Bussell was here. I was a fan of Coach Bussell. I had followed his career. So when he came, I started to watch and follow a little bit. And then the job that Coach Hudspeth has done has been remarkable. And it's not surprising to me that when major jobs open in the southeastern part of the country that his name is mentioned. It's not shocking at all when you watch them play. I knew that they were going to, my hunch before I saw the film was, okay, going to be athletic. I saw a little bit of crossover film because when we were preparing for Boise, they had already played there, so we saw bits and pieces. I knew that they were going to be big. The 2 guards are both road graders. I knew the quarterback was going to be productive, but I mean, I have a great appreciation for their team and the job that they've done, and I have no doubt that this is going to be a tall order, and it's a road game. We make no bones about it. We know it's a road game. there's pluses and minuses to this whole thing. This is a unique bowl site for the Mountain West. Our kids get to enjoy a place that, frankly, most of the other Mountain West bowl sites are on campus. They're places that these kids have played. This is a wonderful experience for our guys to come to a place that they normally would not see. But the flip side of that is it makes it really hard on our fans with 13 days notice to get down here. So we know it's going to be a road game.
And you prepared a silent count. Is this from your experience playing LSU in this?
Oh yeah, I mean I know it's loud in here. I've been in here with my dad when he was here with teams, and I know it's loud in here. But it's one of the great buildings in American sports, and I actually took the time to explain to these guys that this is one of the great buildings in American sports. And the one thing I haven't done yet that I want to do, I want to go out and see the statue of Steve Gleason. I haven't been able to get outside the building yet, but I have an aunt that I lost to ALS. It's very near and dear to my heart. I'm a special teams guy my whole career. I knew Steve Gleason when he was a player, how good a special teams guy he was. Having been I believe we were the first Sugar Bowl back in the building after Katrina when we were here with LSU and Notre Dame. My younger brother was on the Tulane staff. He was the director of football operations at Tulane when Katrina struck. He was in, Mississippi and Dallas and all. I mean, we were literally. I was at Notre Dame at the time, and our equipment guy, we sent them boxes of T-shirts and shorts and socks to my brother at Tulane to try and help. So, although I'm not from here, I have a great appreciation for the city and the area. I find it incredible, and like I said, I want to get out and see that, and I'm hoping to sneak away this afternoon and go to the World War II Museum and experience a little bit more of what the city's got to offer now that we're a little closer to the game. Just all the history and the Super Bowls and the Final Fours, and I mean this is one of the great venues in American sports, and you forget that they're 19, 20 years old. They don't know this stuff. I mean, I talk to them about lessons I learned from Marv Levy, who's in the Hall of Fame, and they don't know who he is. I mean, so I gotta educate.
Look him up on Wikipedia, right?
Yeah, they know who Michael Jordan is.
We talked a little bit about like the influences in trying to bowl logistics, being a head coach for the first time in a bowl game. You have this Rolodex that most college coaches don't have. Who do you draw most from, as you're kind of new to this?
Well, I'm unique in the sense that I have a dad that is hopefully in the Hall of Fame in January. So I can always call him, and we don't talk X's and O's. We talk a little bit of personnel, but we really talk organization and management. And he's the first call. I talked with Kevin Sumlin. Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern's a dear friend, and we're kind of in the same age group, and I lean on him a little bit. But I'm not afraid to call guys and ask for help or kind of find different ways to approach things and then kind of go my own way with it. The best single piece of advice I got before I got this job was from Kevin Sumlin. We sat on his deck in Texas the night before I flew to Nevada, and he said, listen, you've been around some great guys and you've learned lessons from everybody, but the trick is don't try to be somebody else. You can only be yourself. And I try to put that into play with every decision we make. I will look back at old bowl manuals, as my wife always wondered why I kept all that crap. Now we know
you
why.
Let her throw it away.
I'll look through old bowl manuals, I'll talk to coaches, but then eventually I'm going to decide what's best for us.
Why'd you go to John Carroll?
Oh, I love John Carroll.
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland.
Are you?
Yeah.
In fact, we drove by, was it Xavier we drove by the other night? That's another Jesuit school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have this kind of access, but we're lucky. My older brother was looking for a school to go to, and Don Shula is a John Carroll alum. And my dad Don Shula told my father, you ought to have your son look at John Carroll. It's a Catholic school. We were living in Buffalo at the time.
Yeah.
In a great Jesuit school in the east side of Cleveland. It would be 3 hours from home. So my older brother went there and played. And I was bound and determined not to follow my older brother, but I absolutely fell in love with it. And I'm blessed. I love it. It's my alma mater. And frankly, had I not gotten into football, I might have settled permanently in Northeast Ohio. I absolutely love it there. And it's a very unique place. You look back in a 10-year window of this Division III Catholic school on the east side of Cleveland, and you've got 2 NFL GMs, Josh McDaniels, an NFL head coach now coordinator. I mean, there's like 10 guys at the highest level of football coming out of this little Division III school.
That's crazy, huh?
It's funny that I'm like one of the youngest head coaches in America, and I'm like the 11th most successful person from my own college. Like they don't even pay attention to me. You know, they're